Hey everybody, welcome to episode 122 of the Seller Club podcast. We are about to sprint across the finish line of March with a very special guest, and she is here to
drop that beat.
Drop that beat, then you know the vibe. Seller Club Live, got a guest inside. Kendall in the building, store E on shine. From the brief flow on the right, all time, step by step. Yeah, we build that wave. Real talk with. Yeah, we here to stay.
Okay, right out the gate, we got to clear something up.
What?
We've got some very similar names on the podcast today.
Yep.
We've got Ken. Say hi, Ken.
What up?
And we've got Kendall. Say hi, Kendall.
Hi.
And I'm Kenna. Just kidding. I'm still Anna. But the good thing is, even though your names sound similar, your voices don't sound similar. So
Yep,
hopefully
true.
people can still tell you apart with ease. But I'm so excited you're coming back to the podcast, Kendall. We got to talk to you at eBay Open this past year, 2025. And as I recall, we were rudely interrupted by the Backstreet Boys bursting onto the scene. Like, how rude. But hopefully that won't happen this time. We'll see. Right. We'll see if they've learned their manners.
They're going to bust through my door.
You would, like, pass out if that happened.
Right.
Yeah,
we secretly sent them, so.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, if that happens, we did it.
Yeah. So Kendall, for the, few people that don't know you, can you briefly introduce yourself? Give us a background of how you found eBay, or how you got started on eBay, and also the type of stuff that you're selling on eBay.
Sure. So my name's Kendall. I am outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. I have been a full-time seller for under 3 years. It'll be 3 years in May. And I sell men's and women's pre-loved clothing. But I started, funny story is I actually did not thrift or like thrifting prior to becoming a reseller. My husband is actually the one that loves to thrift, and he was the one that like would make me go with him. And then eventually I started to like it. So it is really funny because like 5 years ago, I would have never, this would not be my position, which is just
my gosh.
crazy. Yeah.
You just became a prodigy. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, I like to say that this is just proof that people can change, because I never thought I would be here, and now I'm here.
I love that.
Yeah, I started on eBay, which I feel like is, I mean, maybe not weird for you two, but I feel like the majority people start on Poshmark, and correct. I didn't. I decided to go eBay first. I just thought that eBay was more complex, and I feel like also had a wider range of buyers, so I wanted to start there and kind of like tackle that first, which I'm really glad I did, because going to any other platform after eBay felt like
it's easy
cakewalk.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, I started with eBay and then eventually added other platforms along the way, but eBay is still my ride or die. But yeah, I had a sprint month this month, and it was fantastic, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Yes,
right.
That's why we wanted to bring you in here to tell us all about it, because it was so cool. We've been having our own month of sorts over here at Seller Club, and Ken and I have been we started out wanting to do a big inventory check, and then other opportunities came up, and both of us kind of shifted our goals around a little bit. But it's basically become a 2-month project instead of a 1-month project, with other stuff interspersed. And it was really fun to follow along with what you've been doing all month and see how you've been approaching it, because in both cases we were kind of like, the goal was to like buckle down for some specific reasons. And so it's cool because, again, like you just said, people are allowed to change, plans are allowed to change. So for us, like, the plan shifted a little bit, but we've got another like exciting month to lock in ahead of us. And I know, because I've been following along, how your month went so well. So it's going to be really cool to just hear some of the ins and outs of that. And hopefully, anybody who actually did what we originally set out to do and had kind of a down month where they were, combing through their inventory and getting everything totally straightened out and in order, and they're ready to source again, or they're ready to do a big listing push, they can take something from this too and have like a good strategy going into April. So
right. I mean, my point of view on it is I was just living vicariously through Kendall. because
While you were
what
outsourcing.
what she did was my plan initially.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And we talked about March Madness and just locking down. We went for a trip to our Berlin trip, and then I was like, once I get back, this is it. Super inspired, and it was just a fury of just different things that obviously I chose specifically to do, but I think like anything in everything is when you put in hard work, when you buckle down. um I already knew as soon as Kendall started writing all the stuff down on the whiteboard. I was like, oh, she
It's
was
over.
serious.
Game
Yeah,
over.
yeah. I was like, I mean, even JC commented, that's like, babe, like, remember when you left? Every time you leave, I always have like something written down, and every time I accomplish it, and I'm like, golly, like I wish I could work like that, but this will be a test that people can change, I can change, and y'all can change. So
Well, and also, like, Kendall, you committed to this sprint month for a month, which is a finite amount of time.
right,
And, you could do anything for a month, maybe, if you really commit to it.
that's the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
can you just tell us, like, from the beginning, I know you've referred to this as, like, your sprint month. So, can you talk to us about that? Like, why did you approach it that way? And why did you want to do it in the first place? Like, what was the impetus for it?
Honestly, well, I called it a sprint month just because I feel like I see people use that term as like a way to just buckle down and
Like,
get
focus
whatever you
and,
want to get done. Yeah, for a certain amount of time.
yeah.
And coming off of February, did not have a great month in February. And I was like, just really drowning in everything. I felt like I had a death pile. I had a ton of stale listings. Like, I felt very overwhelmed and stressed. And for me, I'm someone that loves to gamify anything that I can, or like give myself some sort of challenge. Like, I'm big on goals, and it helps me to be able to like buckle down and actually get something done when I'm tracking it or whatever. That's
Right.
why I got the whiteboard too, the whiteboard felt like I was, I mean business now that I have
Yeah,
a
for
whiteboard.
sure.
So
It's accountability.
but yeah, but it was definitely just from feeling so overwhelmed and like feeling out of control that this was the thing that I could do, that I could control. And like, actually, my whole thing is like chunking things out and like breaking things down is gonna be the best way for me to get things done. So that was kind of, I looked at all of the stuff that I had. Like, I think at the time when I started the month, maybe like 160 or like 180 things in my death pile. I had over 800 sale listings. And mind you, I have 1,300 listings at the time.
Yeah.
So like more than half
Like,
was
yeah,
sales.
well over half.
Yeah. So I was like, this is just not how I want to keep going. And
Right.
I, made it a point to work on every area of my business, but also I was sharing my schedule. So like that held me accountable. And I felt like,
Yeah.
there were points when I was like, am I being annoying? Because like
No.
I'm sharing my schedule every single day. And
No, I
left
see it
and
all the
left
time.
good
I see it
feedback.
every day, and I'm like, oh, she's moving, and
Yeah.
it kicks me up to to like do something, which
Yeah.
is, I think that's super important, right? Like, taking a pause here, that I've been a fan of Google Calendar, and it gets me going when there's something there. And then now I've been just blocking time, and it definitely saved me a lot of headaches of like double booking stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know Anna does the writing stuff
Oh, it
on,
saves me headaches too. Look at
yeah,
that.
she's ancient. She still writes on piece of paper.
I do.
So
100%. I like
so
whiteboards too. But
yeah,
yeah, I do. I write things by
no,
hand.
I literally had a 4x8 whiteboard when I started in our apartment, and that really helped us because I would write everything down,
Hold on.
like what
For
you were
what?
saying.
By 8 what? Feet?
Yeah, 4x8 feet, like a full sheet of
That is
plywood was the whiteboard.
huge.
Yeah, it was basically like a teacher's whiteboard, right? Like
Wow.
that's literally how I bought it, and I put it in a big chunk, and eventually that's kind of like how I track everything.
Yeah.
I know there's power in a whiteboard or something like that. Like there
Yeah.
has to be something.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
Kendall
It's the
Yeah.
smell
uses
of the
it too.
markers
That's what it is. It wakes
That's
you up,
what
or it
it
gets
is.
you going, huh?
or something. Yeah. Slightly high.
All right. Getting backtracked. So you start writing it down. You were sharing it. I
Mm-hmm.
think sharing it. I think like as a social media person, I think the fact that you're sharing it, that's actually holding you accountable, because like now you're thinking
Yeah.
like, oh crap, if I don't do anything tomorrow, that means I'm not really, I'm not really being true to myself or to the people
Yeah.
that I'm telling this story about.
I also think
Yeah.
it's really helpful because it's like, I mean, you have crushed it. We're gonna get into all the
Mhm.
specifics, how hard you have crushed it this month, but also like every day, like one day to the next was not necessarily perfect, and I think it's really important for people to see that too, where it's like, okay, maybe I didn't quite make it on every single front every single day, and that's fine. That's kind of it's an indication that your goal was appropriately challenging, right? Like
Mhm.
it was still difficult to do, but you could do it. But it was definitely doable, and you found like a sweet spot with that. I do have one question for you though. I was just thinking as you were describing it, how did you decide about, you know, like you were saying, there's multiple areas of your business that really needed your attention. It was feeling really overwhelming. How did you decide to to basically work on all of them each day? Because that's kind of interesting, instead of going like, okay, well, the first week I'm going to knock out all of the photos, and the next week I'm going to knock out all half the stale listings, and the next week, like, why was it every day you did a little bit on multiple fronts? I'm just curious if you have a reasoning for that.
Yeah, I mean, being a self-employed person, like obviously you have to figure out what schedule works best for you and like how
Uh-huh.
you work the best. And I've done the batch days where I had a full day of photos, full day of, and that left me feeling so drained.
Mm,
Like, yes, I'd feel accomplished, but also just
at a great
exhausted.
cost.
And
Yeah.
Mhm.
yes. And so this was a new way of me approaching it. And honestly, I've gone through waves of like using a calendar and keeping, track of what I'm doing and working on every area. And I think this, because I had clear targets, like I knew what I was starting out with, so I knew how I had to break it down in order to actually hit that goal. So
Right.
then it was just a matter of figuring out how long each task takes me and then building in that in my schedule. And I found that working on every single area left me feeling so like fulfilled and satisfied at the end of the day versus just having one full day where, yeah, I mean, if I photograph 150 things in one day, I'm going to feel great, but also it just, I don't know, something about touching every little area
Right.
felt better to me and like worked really well for me, which surprisingly this month was incredibly sustainable. Like I feel like this is something that I can continue because I
Yeah.
was doing an hour of photos and getting X amount done and then an hour and a half of listings, and like that might sound like not a lot of time to people, but like it was enough of a challenge for me to like buckle down and get the stuff done that I needed to in that amount of
Right.
time, because I only had that, I only scheduled that amount of time for myself.
Yeah.
So
And you did the math. So it's like, you know, that what you did for that day was enough mathematically to get you to the
mhm,
goal at the
Right.
end. So you had a clear cutoff of like, yes, I've done enough. And also
yeah.
like, yeah, if it took less time than that, great. Now you just have like bonus time. Well, I don't want to
Mhm.
skip too far ahead, but I am curious. Like you just said, this has been really sustainable, and you could see yourself doing it more in the future. But you don't have a backlog of stale listings, and you don't have a death pile. So are you going to replace those tasks with other tasks, or how could that work?
Honestly, I mean, I can't wait to start shopping again because I haven't really shopped much, and like
Yeah.
I'm also feeling just kind of like rejuvenated with my
Yeah,
store. Like it just feels
energized.
Right.
revived.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to shop and also like looking at shopping through a different lens of like not, because there's a lot. I mean, I know we'll get into it, but like there's stuff that I've pulled out of my inventory, and those are things that now I'm not like, I'm going to be more like use more discernment when I'm
Right.
thrifting, because I
Yeah.
don't
Right.
want
Right.
to
Right.
pick up those things that I know I didn't work for me,
Yeah.
before. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to shop, but I'm also excited which is different than selling, but I also create content, and I think that's something that I kind of want to, because I also have goals with content. So that
Right.
is something that I kind of want to focus on more and create some sort of challenge again for myself, whether I'm going to share it, I don't know, but just doing something content related. Um, so I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but it
Cool.
as I add inventory and as things start to become things that I have to like build back into my schedule.
Mhm.
I kind of want to do content related things, but just now that I'm where I'm at, I can stay on top of everything. Like once
Right,
things do
right.
start happening,
Right.
I can not feel like I'm drowning again by the end of the month. So yeah, it'll be interesting though once I start
Right.
shopping
It
and once
will. I mean, there's so many possibilities, which is exciting.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And
it's
like you said, like
great either way.
it sounded like shopping was the one that you kind of like put in the last priority in
Hmm.
this sprint month, because that usually the most fulfilling, right? The most fun, but the
Hmm.
rest are the least fun, but sometimes those are the ones that kick in the curb. But at the end of the day, if it's not listed, it's not gonna sell, right? And
Yeah.
also, one thing you pointed out that there are things that you've put in your inventory now, especially the auditing of the listings. You get to see the things that you used to pick up, and you get to audit it again. It's like, hey, it's a
Yeah.
reminder for you that like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna pick this up again. And that's one
Hmm.
of the things that I tell everybody that, I mean, especially you're in your third, right? You're coming up to your 3 years selling full time there. I really think in your first 3 years that's the most growth that you're gonna have.
It's so
You
valuable.
know, because there is a data out there that in the first 3 years are the toughest for any business to survive, and if you've made it past 3 years, I believe it's you're the top 33%. Past a third doesn't survive after 3 years. So you're there. So like I think the pressure that you're feeling, and we've had conversations before about like trying to push your business to the next level. Obviously you're at what, a 1,300, 1,500 listings mark. Like you're probably thinking like, okay, how will this be possible, right? Like I always tell myself, if I double my business, can I still handle it? Right? Are the and it sounds like with your schedule that you've built up, if you double your business, you still can handle it. Would
Yeah.
you believe that? Would you
Yeah.
agree in just the schedule that you made?
Yeah. I do think like this like I don't feel burnt out by the end of this
Right.
month. And like
Yeah.
everything that I did this month should make me feel burnt out. Like all the
Right.
chat like tasks that I gave myself should have made me
Yeah.
feel dead, and I feel
Yeah.
better than ever about my store and like the future of my store.
And you're dealing with backlogs, and that's another thing. So
Yeah.
your main goals with this were to clear your death pile and to make all of your stale listings fresh again. Is that
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Can you explain what that means? Like how did you know you had stale listings? What did you do about it? Like what was that part of it like?
So I guess it started back in October. I met with a growth advisor with eBay, and that was kind of where my stale and stagnant listings were like brought to light, because he was like, what is going on here? And I've also had conversations with Ken about listing impressions and how that impacts your
Mhm.
store and what those numbers kind of mean. And my listing impressions were very far into the negative. Like it was like nothing was being shown of my store pretty much. Again, because I also had more than half of it stale and stagnant.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was first whenever I was like, oh, okay, like I need to get a handle on this. And he kind of sent me a list of all my listings, and I started working through them. And that felt super daunting, which is it's crazy that now I'm at where I'm at. But now fast forward to today, I use Vendu, and it has a feature in Vendu where it can give you a notification, or like it'll show on the listing whether it's stale. And so that has been I just sort by stale list, and I would
Right.
just go through, and it also tells you how long it's been listed, or like from the last time it was listed, because obviously I've done this a few times. And some things were listed over 200 days, over 250
Right.
days that haven't been touched, like haven't
And
even been fixed.
right. And for the people that are listening that don't understand, there is a growth advisor that you can meet and
On eBay.
on eBay, right? And eBay can run a report on your listing, and that's where they give you an advice. And and this is something that we've done too. I've done it multiple times.
Mhm.
That I believe there's two things, right? There's stagnant and stale. Which one's the worst?
Stagnant.
Stagnant's the worst,
Stagnant.
right? I think
Yeah.
stale's between
Stale is like to
60 to 90, right?
yeah,
And then stagnant is past
after
90 days,
90. Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So those are the kind of like the two parameters that when your listings get to that certain point, right? There is a a drop in traffic, because obviously the algorithm's not gonna recognize that this item is popping, right? Like this item is not viewed as much, not liked
Right.
as much.
It's not relevant.
There's
It's
no
not a relevant
action,
search
right?
result.
Yeah, there's no action. So that's where you could, that's where you know, that's kind of like an alarming sound. Like, wait, like obviously with, you know, we all make mistakes, we all make bad buys. Most of the bad buys, or maybe just not as polished listing when we picked it up then, or maybe you were in a rush listing it. I literally just sold something today that had a wrong spelling. And
Yeah.
I was like, golly, I was wondering
Yeah, what took
why
it so long?
it was
Or
a
it'll
three.
be, or sometimes I've had them where they're weirdly like in the wrong category.
Right. Like,
And normally
you
when
know,
I'm
like,
creating drafts,
so,
it's like correctly picking the right category, and I
so,
just
yeah.
missed when it was wrong.
And,
Yeah.
and again, like, I've shared this before. That's what I do quarterly. I go through all my listings individually. And for some reason, that one slipped. It was, it's been listed for over 150 days, and it was a $350 item.
Oh my gosh.
So Kendall, talk to us what you do to kind of like revitalize this stale listings that you're talking about.
So I feel like the biggest thing that I've been doing is price adjusting. There are a
Mhm.
lot of times, and I think also, you know, I'm still like a baby reseller. So there are a lot of things that have been listed that I maybe priced with my ego, or like priced with what I wanted to get,
Right,
and
right,
not
right.
necessarily what I should have been asking for.
You
So
were super optimistic at the point of pricing.
yes, yeah. So that
You were
was the biggest
using
thing.
the whiteboard markers a little too much.
Yeah. So I was using product research with eBay and like just seeing where things are priced, and not necessarily using that as like my, you know, one truth, but using that as like a way to see, okay, people are listing it at 75, but it's selling at 40. And mine's
Right.
priced at, who knows, 89.99, something outrageous. So then I would be adjusting that. And I feel like that was the biggest thing
Yeah.
that moved the needle and like got things starting to move, because then people were looking at me like, okay, this girl's not crazy because she's not asking for something that's not even in the realm of
Astronomical.
possibility.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest, was pricing. And then like you guys said, like I had things that were like, the brand might have been marked wrong on eBay or Poshmark, or, you know, I just like, again, just moving quick in the beginning, trying to like just pump listings out that like
Right.
those little details would go, you know, fall to the wayside. So double checking all of that stuff, and also fixing my titles, and like actually starting to try and incorporate keywords, or, you know, those like buzzwords. Although majority of my stuff is brand based selling,
Right.
but like still just throwing in some things that could, you know, help it sell. And then also I've added like AI generated photos if I can, if it doesn't look
Okay.
completely wonky. And I will put a note in my description, like the first photo is AI generated, like please use a flat lays as
Right,
like
right.
your best, you know, but just to show fit or things like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, that the pricing was the biggest, and then I would say like the title and item specifics, and then photo, like adding a, because also I was told when I met with the growth advisor that like 8 photos for clothing is like the sweet spot. That's what you want to have. And there was a lot of listings that I had that didn't have that. So it would be also like taking them out of inventory and like adding more photos, or realizing that I didn't include certain ones, and like kind of just sprucing those up.
Right.
So a
No,
little bit of
I think-
everything.
Yeah, I mean, it is though. It's like you're looking at wherever there can be material improvements made to your listing, and you know, some of that is just like, yeah, at first glance or first pass 2 years ago, whenever you listed it or whatever, initially it's like, yeah, I missed that, or eBay added item specifics in this category since I listed it,
Yep,
and now I
that's
can
true.
fill out more important ones or whatever, or you know, yeah. But you have to have your brain turned on when you're looking at them, because it could be any little clue.
Yeah.
And you
it-
know, just updating things in
Yeah.
general makes it more fresh again, but also like improving the quality of those aspects of the listing obviously does the most difference, right?
Yeah,
Makes
and
the
I
most
think the
impact.
most subtle thing that happens is you're retraining your eye again.
Yeah.
You're retraining your, you know, because you're the buyer, right? Most of the buyers, when you look back at the stuff that you've picked up, and if you cannot say like, man, this is a good listing, most of the times if it sits that long, you'll be like, man, why did I either buy it or
Yeah.
why did I expect too much from this, right? Like kind of like you said, and then markets could change, right? Trends could change, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, right? Especially like it doesn't matter if it's new or old, because if new or used item, because I could have a new item now and I'm the only one, and tomorrow 100 listings could come in because somebody found them somewhere.
Yeah.
Or for example, like all the new has been bought, and then you're the next one in line that maybe have a excellent condition, and people could go buy that item at that point. So I think that's one, probably the most. I mean, I think Anna asked me about this, what I do with this before, but I do it all the time, and I just do it 100 listings at a sit down. That's what I do, and that's all I could take, because I'm literally mentally fighting myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, you dummy, like why did you buy this? I'm like, you dummy, why did you price this? And I'm just like, my brain's just fighting with each other.
That's funny.
And then one day I was just like, I'm just gonna auction this off for $1. I don't care. And I was like, no, you can still make $5, you
Yeah,
dummy.
salvage
Like,
it. Salvage
yeah,
it.
yeah. So that's basically what I do with
I
still listings.
haven't looked at my like a report or anything about my listings lately, but I will say I have been cross listing a bunch for this will be like my third experiment cross listing, and it's the only one that's been really successful. And I'm happy about that. But every time, I'm going in to cross list something, I'm kind of checking that over too.
Yeah.
Saving things into the venue form especially makes me like look at the title and even like remove the background on some much older listings where I had this one blanket that was like had a pattern on a very slight pattern that was like white and gray. Like I'll remove that if it's in the photo or whatever. But I've been like combing through them in that way, like as I've been cross listing. And then also I'm working on my inventory, and so there are a few things like that. I'm making sure it's listed on eBay. I'm making sure it's in my spreadsheet where it's supposed to be, and that the quantities are correct if it's multiple quantity. But there's like little things I'm tweaking as I'm going through that too, which is really helpful. I mean, some of those things have definitely been selling more, but it's like so tedious. Like it's not like a quick check. It's like details,
And
so
and
I
you
feel like it's good to do that in smaller chunks because it requires so much attention to detail.
right. So Kendall, you've mentioned impressions and traffic and stuff like that. We talk about how has it improved since you've been doing this?
I mean, well, whenever I started, like I said, it was like, I think my listing impressions was like negative 25%. Like, and that was also one of the numbers that I feel like as I was mainly doing the delist and relist of things, because I also pulled out a bunch of like, I think I pulled like 200 pieces out of my inventory of
And you
stuff
relisted it?
No, like I'm like pulling it out and like taking it to a buy sell trade, like
Purging
I'm
it.
moving
Oh,
on from it.
purging. You were purging it. Yeah. It's like you're
Yeah,
not worthy
yeah.
of my store anymore.
Yeah. Well, because there's a lot of stuff that I bought cheap and thought that like because it's cheap, it's gonna sell, and it just
Right.
and it's like how many price adjustments I went through where I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna recoup the money at a buy sell trade
Right.
and move on from it.
Yeah.
And that doing that I think is also just like kind of again like revived my store because I feel like it's gotten rid of all the dead weight. Like yes, it's pulling me down because it's stale and stagnant, but also it's just not good inventory.
Right.
So
It
that's
was
also
never
not-
gonna bring positive impressions or
Yeah.
traffic anyway. It was just yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, but I do feel like when I was doing the stale, like every time I was doing a big bulk of stale listings and like refreshing them, I would refresh my homepage, my seller hub to see
Yeah.
what that number was at because it was just going down and like going down meaning getting closer to zero, getting closer
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
positive.
Yeah.
And like at one point I think it was at like 1.2% or something.
like
Like it was
You were at the green. You were at the
We're
green.
the green. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
That's great.
So now it's not, it goes back up, it fluctuates, but
Right.
it's way better than it was. And I also, I don't know how much, I guess it probably correlates, but like, I feel like when I was seeing that number go down, I was starting to see shifts like movement in my store and things were selling
Yeah.
and things were
Yeah.
moving.
Because you've been
So-
having a great month, like gross revenue wise too.
Right.
Like you've been
No,
selling a ton
it's-
this month.
I tell everybody there's no data that it connects, but for me historically I've tracked it
Yeah.
that every time I hit a certain amount of million ad is like $1,000 add to my revenue. every million
Impression.
impression is equals to
Oh.
1,000 plus minus. So my goal is to just find the products that bring in the most impression, and obviously, there's math to converting all those eyes. Well, before we, this is not nerdy stuff. Let's talk about all the
Yeah, it is.
it is, but I don't want to talk more about it because I want to ask Kendall, what are the things that you track? If you guys haven't followed Kendall on Instagram, make sure you follow.
Yeah, what's on the whiteboard?
What's your IG again? Secondhand styles.
At the
The
style
style
secondhand.
secondhand.
The style secondhand. Golly, all right.
I
So
wanted secondhand style, but it was taken. So
okay,
style
we'll
secondhand.
make sure we'll link that in the description. But Kendall, what are the things that you are tracking daily? If you could walk us through it.
So I was tracking how many listings, how many photos, how many stale actions, and then also, thanks to Ken, added the value, the dollar value that I was adding. I think for me, dollar value is important, and I think moving forward, it'll be more of a driving force.
Right.
But at the time, it was the number of listings that I wanted to hit, just because I
Right.
knew I had to work through so much of my inventory.
Right. Yeah.
But those were the things that I'm like looking at my whiteboard because I have it all still
Right.
written up. That was what every day I was updating, and then also would do a weekly output of what I did for that entire week, and then also the stale listings. I kind of had as I decreased, I would
Yeah.
add that number as I was getting closer and closer to my goal, which was to be around 200 from 800.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, when you were tracking all that stuff, like, so you were focusing so much on, I mean, the death pile was listing new stuff, right? So like you did a ton of new listings, which always helps. Do you know like what your store value started at in the beginning of the month and what it went to, or did you look at that when you started?
I didn't look at that when I started, but I do know at least this month, I added 200 new listings as of I mean, I haven't added new listings in the last week. So I've added 200
Yeah,
for
because you're
the first
done
3.
with that goal.
Yeah. So I did that. And so far right now on the month, I've sold 210 listings. So
Okay.
So you kind of maintained
You meant
in terms
Yes.
of the count, but the
The
value
count.
may have shifted still. Like,
yeah. But I did look actually at February because I was curious, and I still did pretty well compared to what I listed and what I sold last month, but I've just the volume, the amount has just gone way up this month.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm still selling things now without listing anything new.
Right.
I mean, I'm doing the delist, relist, and I'm still making sales. So like, and I still have a few days. So that number will just, go up, hopefully, as long as everything doesn't just like crash and burn now for the last
Right,
few days.
right.
But I'm probably going to shop this weekend. So like, I might have new things to add come Monday, but
yeah.
yeah, I mean, my store
Monday's-
has still
yeah.
been going strong.
Right, and that's one of the things that I think about what you sold last week. It's still kind of like it's not a hard rule anymore, but it used to be such a hard rule that if I sold 1,000 items last week, I have to source 1,000 worth of items and list them this week, just for my store to maintain, right? And everybody wants to like, oh, I want to double my store, I want to grow my store. By how much? Because you don't, when you say grow, you don't account. Most of the people
You
don't
gotta
account
add
what
back
they
in what
sell,
you're selling. Yeah,
right? And so if you're selling 100 items a day,
Yeah.
to grow your store, you gotta buy and list 101 items the following. That if you do it every day, you gotta do that daily. So it is a good good thing to have, like, written down data and stuff like that, and which is, it inspired me so much that I still have the 4x8 sheet whiteboard. I'm trying to find a place where I'm gonna put it.
Oh, I
I'm
know
prob-
you can find a place.
I will find a place, because it's a lot of people are so visual. I mean, even if you say you don't, but it is, when you look at it and you say, like, this is what I did today. One is you found it so fulfilling. Same with me, I would find it so fulfilling too. And also, to start the day, it's like, okay, I gotta do this before I can do everything else. I'm such a distracted person. That's why I appreciate visual board like that.
It's an anchor, right? And Yeah, that helps a lot.
And
Yeah, I'm
Anna,
definitely
in
a visual person. I had like a progress. I erased it now because I was worried that it would stain the whiteboard because it was all black. I had like a progress that I was coloring in every day, and then I was
right,
like, wait, I don't want this to like completely ruin this whiteboard. So, and once I got to a place where I was like, I don't really need this, like, because I'm a visual person too, and again,
right,
like I got help from ChatGPT to figure out like what
right,
how I should set up the whiteboard at least, and I was like, I
Yeah.
need something that's going to be a visual tracker for me because I need to see that I'm making steps, even if the numbers are showing, sure, but I need like a visual, like
right.
filling something up. And that was what I had, a progress tracker, and then I got worried it was going to ruin my board and I want to use this board for more things. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I feel good about this month. I'm like, now it's like muscle memory so I can erase
Yeah.
the progress tracker. So, yeah, I'm
Was
definitely
there
visual.
there's also like it's so helpful on so many levels to see, I mean, visually, yes, but also to have like data points attached to your progress. Like even if it's just, I got this many out of this many done. Was there anything, because we're all very subjective and emotional beings, whether we admit it or not. And so our estimation of how things are going or whatever is so much more like an internal impression, than data if we don't actually track it. So it's really important to do that if you want an accurate picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering, since you were always in the numbers all month, was there anything that was really surprising to you, good or bad, like that worked really well or that
Yeah,
went
what
faster
stood
than you
out, right?
thought? Yeah,
Yeah.
what were the surprises?
Yeah. I think the biggest one is that I don't have to work as much as I think I have to work. Like, as
Mm.
long as I have
Mm,
focused time,
Right.
I was like working part-time hours
yeah,
compared
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like
that's the
where,
dream. Yeah,
yeah, like the months that I was like, hitting burnout, I was working like all day and still feeling, exhausted. Where now I'm like, as long as I can have that focus time and I can
yeah,
get that stuff done, I can work 4 hours and be okay with that. Like I can, because I think for me too, I'm like, there's so much out there on social media. There's so much hustle culture. And like, I am not a hustle culture person, but it's so easy to like fall into that trap when you see everybody
Mm-hmm.
else being like, here's my numbers and here's what I did today and all this.
Right.
We're like, I don't actually need to do that. And that was a big eye opener for me and just like good for my mental health to be like, okay,
yeah,
Kendall, like you hit the things you need to hit. Go watch TV. And like I
Right.
can do that without feeling
yeah.
guilty or feeling like I
Right.
need to keep working. So that was definitely one of the big ones. And the other thing is how much Poshmark surprised me was, I mean, again, like I said, eBay is my ride or die, and
Right.
like Poshmark is my side piece. Poshmark has been killing it this month, and like
Oh.
now it's like I'm almost like feeling like I'm neglecting eBay a little
Right.
bit,
Right.
not in the terms of like doing anything differently with my listings, but like just catering more to Poshmark and doing the sales and sending offers and things like that on there. Because now I'm like, I want to keep seeing that like grow because it's
Yeah.
been like, it's just, I'm just surprised, especially just with everything that happens with Poshmark and the way people feel about
I
Poshmark.
know.
Right.
There's been so many like hangups. I was on like delay holding pattern of cross listing again for
Mhm.
months because of that, because there was just stuff constantly on fire at
Right.
Poshmark and I knew that was probably
Yeah.
going to be my main other platform. And then when I went into my experiment, I was like, well, I'm going to do like Poshmark and Etsy and Depop. And then Poshmark surprised me too, because it has by far and away been the best one so far. And I've only been
Yeah.
doing it for a month, but I mean, I sold an extra 20 to 25% this month on Poshmark alone. And I'm shocked. And I'm a little
Yeah.
mad about it, honestly, because I did not want it to be
Yeah.
that like amazing. Because I
That
was
late.
like,
You're
I was
that
like,
late.
I love to hate on Poshmark a little bit,
No,
Yeah.
well, as especially now that Kendall said that, because Anna's just been bragging about her Poshmark sales.
I mean,
I
shocked.
got
I've been shocked.
no,
by
yeah,
it.
no, it's good. It's a good brag. I got suspended in Poshmark back to back, 14-day back to back. So it's been a month off of Poshmark, just because I was the brat that just cancels a sale because I sell them on eBay and I don't update my Poshmark that well. So I got suspended. So I was just like, oh, forget Poshmark. And then I looked up my previous, monthly and yearly sales. I'm like, crap, I I
Probably
could
shouldn't forget.
yeah, I should not forget about that, right? And then
Not entirely.
and then Anna start cross listing, and then Anna starts putting out numbers, and now you're saying that your Poshmark is doing great. So I didn't tell anybody this, but the last few days I've been delisting and deleting items that I don't have in stock on Poshmark, and I think we're gonna be done today.
Oh, nice.
So yeah,
You'll be
so
back to like baseline.
I'm gonna be back to baseline. Everything that I have on Posh will be available, and I can start sending offers because like you gotta have activity on Posh, right? And I'm afraid to send offers because stuff might sell that I don't have, and there's another 14-day
Yeah.
whack.
You gotta get it straightened out first.
So-
But you're
so-
almost there.
Yeah, I'm almost there. So yeah. So if you're listening, make sure you're listening on Poshmark because Kendall and Anna's killing it.
Apparently.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what out of all of this, like we kind of started talking about earlier, going forward, it's going to look a little different. You're not dealing with an ocean of backlog stuff, which is great. You're going to enjoy that so much more, I bet. But what are you going to keep on tracking, or like how is this going to inform going forward?
I mean, I would like to continue tracking listings in amount and dollar amount, just because I feel like at that point I am again going to start shopping again, and I'm hoping sometimes I can go crazy shopping though. Like that's why I had to like pause, because like my husband and I can shop all day and I can come home with 80 things.
Right.
And like then I'm back to where I'm drowning and feeling overwhelmed. So it can happen very fast.
Yeah.
So I'm proceeding with caution when I shop, but I don't think that I'll necessarily, because I have more of an idea of what works well for me in terms of my schedule, I don't think I need to track like how many photos I'm taking, because I feel like I'll be able to stay on top of the photos at least. But I would like to continue like the 15 listings. I know that, I'd like to just see the dollar amount that I'm doing too, but I feel like for a while I was, did 10 listings or like had certain numbers with listings. And I feel like 15, I guess because of how much inventory I had to work through, felt good. Like that felt like a good amount. And I feel like I could get it done pretty quickly. So I feel like listings, and again, the stale inventory too, I think is going to be interesting, because it's like I'm, not all of my inventory was stale, but now things as I go each day are going to start to become stale.
It'll keep being a revolving door a little bit.
Yeah.
But hopefully
But at least
much
now
smaller volume. Yeah.
Yeah. It won't be 800 listings or whatever that I'm trying to work through. So that's where I'm like, I'm almost kind of excited to like have this routine that I've been doing in a setting where it's not so much stuff, so that like I can, like I said, like I can hit each target that I want to hit, and then chill for the rest of the day and like do whatever I want for the rest of the day, and not like, because I feel like in the beginning of this, I was really busting my butt to like hit certain numbers and do more, because I just like knew how much I had to do. Where now it's like I feel like I'm coasting and it feels great. So like I'm excited to see what's gonna happen when I do start shopping, like the way that I usually shop. Yeah. So it'll be interesting, and I feel very confident in myself to be able to control the chaos better than I was before I started this month. But who knows? Maybe it I'll hit June and be like, I need to do another sprint month. I don't know.
Yeah. But maybe that's a quarterly maintenance thing, and maybe it's only a week next time instead of a month or whatever. Because you did blast through this, and I think that we're the same in that it's really fun to bust your butt for a while, and it's also really fun to enjoy freedom, like the fruits of your labor when you actually get through it, and actually take a minute to enjoy like the freedom that you have just earned yourself, if you see it as something you have to earn or not, but just that you completed your task and now it's not on your mind anymore, right? Like it's not hanging over your head.
And also I think it was a good benchmark, right? It was a good benchmark of what you can accomplish daily,
right?
And also I think moving forward, like every time when you said that I'm excited to go shopping, you won't be as quote unquote desperate as buying as many as you can, because it's gonna put you in a bad situation, right? So so
be a little pickier,
right? Like if I can list this daily, right? we have a thing that we can list 100 items daily if me and JC put our heads together, and that way when I'm buying 500 items, I know if I stop doing everything, I can list everything in 5 days. So that's kind of like our benchmark. So like I'm sure you figured that out. I mean, 15 became pretty easy for you, small chunks, and so now when you go out shopping, if you buy 150 items, you're gonna be like, okay, I can get to this the next 10 days.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that's a good benchmark to have, because again, we all have different kind of like schedules. We all have different wants and needs in our lifestyle that we're trying to build, and it's a question that me and JC ask ourselves all the time: how fast can you list? Her time was 2 minutes and 31 seconds from,
And she's like, "How fast can you list?" And you're like, "How
Yeah.
fast can you list?"
yeah. So that's the,
goes
you know,
on and
like
on.
it's a benchmark is always good, because it puts you in a position where I can, you know, like you can measure yourself like, okay, I can play in this league, I can play in this chaos, like you said, like you got the chaos under control now. So if you're gonna be facing that same chaos, it'll be a cakewalk for you now.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost kind of like weirdly want to put myself in the situation again, like
No.
where I have not like as much as I had, but just
Right.
like
Not
no,
out
to
of
see-
desperation this time, right? Like not
Yeah,
out of that.
yeah, no.
More of like, okay,
But,
I
like-
got better. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it definitely showed me what my potential is, and like I didn't. I think again for me, making it a challenge, gamifying it, like
Yeah.
that works well for me to push myself, and like also holding myself accountable to the people that are watching and like following along works really well for me. And like that, you know, not having that, like I'm curious to see how it goes, like because I won't be doing. You know, sharing my calendar every single day. So it's like, what can I do when no one's watching? And like, you know, how can I continue this when I'm just me trying to like push myself?
Right. Yeah, it's like the leverage is
interesting.
gonna like change a little bit. But okay, I was just thinking about something. Would you guys agree? Tell me if this makes sense. Like, because I was just thinking, okay, you're 15 things a day. I find that it is easiest or like most clear, I guess, to set my listing goals of activity like around the number of things rather than the dollar amount, because like on a daily basis, right? Or whatever, weekly, monthly, because you know how much time it takes you to do a listing. So you can predict, okay, it'll take me whatever, an hour and a half to do, 15 listings or whatever, start to finish. It's harder to go like, well, depending on the items and the variance in the value of the items, like if I'm trying to list $500 of stuff a day, like some days that might be 4 items and some days that might be 20 items. Like, I don't know, like it's easier to measure and predict based on the number of items. But so would you agree with like that item amount is the item number, item count is like how you set your listing activity goals, but how you set your like listed value goals is more about when you're sourcing and your ASP goal.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm gonna answer first. The
Okay.
way we list is same items. So on my footwear, it's $80 ASP. I know that's my footwear. So that's kind of like how when I say
That's like your average.
right. So I'm working on average, and when I know, because we list same even on clothing, all t-shirts, all jackets, all shorts. So I have certain averages for those. So that's kind of how I see it. So whether I see it as 850 items a day, that means 10 items. I could cherry pick at this point. Like, okay, if I need to list 850 and I only have time for 10 listings, I'll go list shoes.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see it. I'm a little bit more complex, but that's because like, I just have money piles, not death pile. I'm just joking.
Oh yeah, Kendall, I was screaming
It's
at
Death Pile.
your podcast. By the way, Kendall has an incredible podcast that she co-hosts. And she's going to tell us all about it in a minute, I
Right.
insist. But I was listening to one recently, and Kendall and Hannah, her co-hosts, were talking about money piles versus death piles, and I was like, profit piles. It's the alliteration, profit pile. But people
Yeah,
do say
it's-
money piles too. But I was like,
yeah.
I can't believe they didn't say profit piles.
No, it's only profit files if it's listed.
Yeah,
Profit
that's
files.
right.
There's no
To
money
me, that's
in it.
just the bin of listed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's not
that's
profit
kind of
yet.
that's my answer
But
to
I
your
hear
question.
that one all
and-
the time.
Yeah. So that was my answer to your question. yeah, I look at it both ways, right? But also
Yeah.
knowing
But that's
that
interesting.
there's
Yeah, because you
ASP.
think of it backwards compared to how I approach it, right? When
Right,
I'm
right.
trying to select out what are the things I'm
Yeah,
gonna list today or
because
whatever.
even when I'm buying, especially on the regular days of buying, I don't have control of what I pick is kind of like would fit my requirement to replenish my inventory, because there could be days that if I need to replenish 1,000 items and I'm only buying $30 shorts, and I would get too discouraged at that point because there's no way I can find 300 pairs of shorts to replenish the
Yeah,
ones that I
right.
lost, right? Basically, so that's kind of how I see it. What about you, Kendall? How do you see it now?
I mean, I feel like again, there's so much that I've changed and done differently in my business, and like that being one of them. I used to be I'm doing 10 listings, and that's, never really paying attention to what the value was. And then I had a lovely chat with Ken, and he kind of opened my eyes to it a little bit differently. And for a while, I was focusing on $500, and that sometimes was also kind of a way to make it a game for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like,
Yeah.
how little of listings can I do
Mm-hmm.
that's going to hit that 500? And for me, because I am pre-loved majority, I mean, it one helped me to look at like what my ASP was and what it could be. But also, I think for me, it then became a little bit more difficult because I felt like I was doing so many listings because some of my things were not,
Yeah.
weren't high dollar. It wasn't always
Right.
every time I was listing something that was 100, 150, whatever. So I think moving into April and like the plan that I have with the listings, I think I'm still going to kind of focus more on the listing amount, but keeping in mind the value that
Right.
I'm also listing, like having that also be a number that I'm paying attention to, because even when
Right.
I was doing it this past month, I was listing 15 things a day and I was exceeding the 500 every single time.
Right.
So I
Right.
don't think it'll be difficult to hit that when I'm focusing on the quantity amount, but yeah, I think in terms of tracking, it's way easier for me to be like, okay, it takes me 3 minutes, 4 minutes to do a listing. So like,
Mm-hmm.
this is how much time I need to do 15. And then that's how I schedule it. And
Yeah.
Yep.
not, the money is a later, like an added thing that I track.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the golden answer to the question would be track both, right? Like
Yeah.
be mindful of the amount of listings that you can list on the allotted time that you have daily, and also at the same time do not disregard the value, right? Because
Yeah.
you could be like, oh, I listed 50 items today, and
They were all
they were
worth a
like
dollar.
the dollar is so low, and
Yeah.
like
So for the same amount of work,
right, you
how
skew
much?
your right,
Yeah.
you skew yourself out of, you become delusion about like, oh my god, because like, oh, I have such, I've listed 100, but I listed 100 socks. That happens to me too, right? Like I've
Yeah.
like I've listed 1,000 socks, but the socks were $20 a piece, so like
Yeah.
it didn't move my inventory value that much, like if I listed it.
Only
But again,
$20,000. I mean, it's not very
Yeah.
much.
In stocks.
Get out
in
of here,
socks,
Ken.
right? But
$20,000 of stuff.
right, but like but in perspective, that could get erased in a day, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're a big store, like I'm not saying that's how much I do it, like, but for a week it could be erased, so all of a sudden I cannot find 1,000 pairs of socks to list weekly, right?
Yeah.
So
Right. Like there's some aspect that it's not sustainable to
no,
do it
it's
that
not,
way.
it's not, right? Like there are
Because
times
you're not
like,
trying to be a sock volume seller.
yeah, because that's what you have to see it, right? Like I think it's a fun thing to do,
Yeah.
right? And I've said this multiple times, like I'm a sneaker seller, but really I actually like selling clothes because my ROI is higher in clothes, and I don't have storage issue when I intake a lot of clothes.
Right.
So that is one of the things that you have to consider. So taking account both is great, right? Like if it doesn't matter if you track it daily or weekly. I mean, it's so easy to track your weekly sales on eBay, right? You see it there, or if you're on Poshmark or you have a spreadsheet, you see it weekly. Just be mindful that this is how much lower your store value is moving the next week. So if you have a if your last week was so amazing, if I have a really strong week, I stress the following week. That's me. That's just me. Because I'm just like, if I don't find this much item, I'm just going to be going negative on value. Um, and that's just part of maintaining a store. That's just maintaining. We're not talking growing. So, I think track both. I think that's a pretty good answer.
Track them publicly because we want to keep track of you and watch what you're doing, Kendall.
Yeah, I
It's
would.
been fun to follow along with you all.
No, yeah. If Kendall wasn't gonna post anything, I would have called her out. I'm
Hey,
like,
what you doing?
yeah, sounds like boss is chilling today, huh? Yeah, that's my issue. That's my issue. I give myself too much break.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, you can
That's
roam
funny.
around there. You can.
We're opposites. I'm like never. I never feel like I've done enough. I always have more stuff I could do. I love working. I like, if anything, tend to be a workaholic. So
Yeah,
I need to meet in the middle.
Yeah, I work 8 months a year. I just scrunch down the 8 months to 3 months.
Right. You just like intensively focus.
Yeah,
on them.
intentionally shorten it in 3 months,
Right.
and so no, it's been fun.
Okay, two things.
Okay.
One, Kendall, would you please tell us more about your podcast so that people can actually find it? And then also,
Yes.
can we tell you about what we're planning on doing in April and get your take on
No,
it?
you can't.
You're like, we can be the first one, but not the second.
Then I'm out. Yes, to both. So my podcast with my friend Hannah is Resale Therapy, and the idea that we had when we came together, which funny enough, Hannah and I did not know each other going into creating a podcast.
Yes, I love that.
I shared my goals for the year, and this is why you should always share your goals. She reached out to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to start a podcast?" And I was like, "Sure." And that
You're
was
like, maybe. No, I'm just
I was
kidding.
like, I mean, my plan was to be on a podcast this year, but not necessarily start one. But, I was like, of course, if I want to take control of that goal, I need to just make my own podcast.
Yeah.
So that is what we did. And we have put out 10, or we're going to record 10. I don't know. It's
Right.
been a few weeks. We put out episodes weekly on Thursdays. And the idea is both of us are very like anti-hustle culture people. We are not going to be on there like pushing you to do more than you can.
It's a therapy.
Exactly. So Hannah has a background in therapy. She was a therapist and then got burnt out on that and became a reseller. So she has that background. And
Wait, are you sure her name's not Anna?
I know. We've talked about it. I reached out to her. I was like, same Z's. Like, why do we have the same origin story? What the heck? And her name is almost the same.
Yeah.
She's
That's
great.
really weird.
I bet she
Um,
was such a great therapist, though. Like, I can hear it in how. I mean, she's not doing therapy on the podcast. That's not what it is. But like,
Yeah.
game recognizes game. That's all.
Right. There's some hints right there, and
Yeah.
that's what Anna does to me. So
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Hannah is definitely like my therapist. So it works out because I like to just ramble and rant, and she's like definitely intentional with what she says and it thinks, and you can tell she has that therapist background
She's a
where I'm
great
just
active
like,
listener. Yeah.
yes, I talk and think later, and then I listen to it on the podcast, and I'm like, I could have probably said that differently, or whatever. So it's fine. We balance each other out,
right.
and we both have like very different ways of looking at things. She started on Poshmark, I started on eBay. Like we just have different backgrounds, which
Right.
is just, I think, really great. We have different perspectives.
Yeah.
Makes it
And
interesting.
we-
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. We talk about like things that resellers deal with that is, we talked about thrift store etiquette, and we're going to be talking about burnout and just things that resellers deal with that maybe isn't talked about a lot, but just kind of the concept is kind of like a chit chat, grab your coffee, grab your drink, and like just vibe out with us. So
Yeah.
we are on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. We have a video portion on YouTube, so if you like to watch, you can do that on there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
And
been
go-
a lot of fun.
Give them a follow on Instagram too. Sometimes they'll put polls in their stories to kind of check the pulse
Yeah.
of the reseller community about different topics. It's really fun. I've really enjoyed watching you guys get off the ground and listen. I've listened to every episode. Usually I'm shipping when I listen to it. Shipping and sipping. I always have a beverage. So right there with you. But it is really fun. And I feel like you guys are doing a really great job. It's got its own flavor and it's very intentional. And I mean, I always learn something. I've been doing this for 9 years and I still always learn something from you guys every week. So thanks for putting it
I
out
love that.
there.
For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Well,
We just did it and thought later.
Sometimes you gotta, right? You can't just hem and haw
Yeah.
forever.
right.
Just get in there and do it. It's
One way
great.
to find out is do it, right?
Yeah,
That's what I
that's
always
right.
say. Well, this has been a lovely time, amazing conversation. And Anna, did we miss anything that we wanted to ask Kendall?
Well, I want to run April by Kendall, and then we
Oh,
can wrap it up.
run it. Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because Ken and I are going to go into depth about this in the next episode.
Right.
So stay tuned for the details and how to like join in with us. But basically, because of how our marches went, we are kind of
went down. I mean, not downhill, but it went madness.
it was mad. It was crazy, but in so many good ways. And we have talked about that a little bit in the last episode. But going forward, we do still have big dreams, big goals to accomplish. There's still stuff that needs to get really done to set the stage for the rest of the year in both of our stores, respectively. So anyway, so April, the rules are no stealing, no spending, and no complaining. So we are buckling down on getting our inventories in check. And for me, there is a bit of a death pile situation also that I'm still working on. And because I ended up spending a lot of my time on cross listing, which was kind of like listing new stuff, but not exactly. So
Right.
I increased the number of listings on the internet.
But you were
by a
still
lot.
spending.
Yeah, and I was spending a little bit. I sourced a little bit this month, but not a ton. But basically, for me, like, I love sourcing, and that's going to have to be the carrot that I'm dangling in front of myself, right? But we're not saying you can't source. We're just saying you have to source creatively. And so every week we're going to have a different challenge for how you might be able to source without spending and without stealing. Of course, goes without saying,
Right.
but I'm still going to say it. Can't steal things, guys. Don't be that person.
I'm stealing JC's jacket.
No, but sourcing from within your own possessions is one of the challenges.
Yes.
So, anyway, though, what do you think about that, Kendall? You're about to have hopefully a big sourcing month yourself, but what do you think about the idea of sourcing in creative ways that don't involve spending
Yeah,
money?
and give us your prediction if I'm gonna make it or not.
I mean, you are probably not gonna make it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm
Honest,
hopeful.
brutally honest.
I love it. I think that will force people to look at different ways of doing things. I mean, there's already things that I know I can contribute for myself because I have a closet full of clothes that I am going to go through and already have gone through. So there's things that I can list from there.
Nice.
And I've also done the Facebook group, like posted in my neighborhood group, and I've gotten free clothes from that. So like
Awesome.
that does work. Sometimes if you
Yes.
just put out there what you do, people will
Yes.
give you stuff. So
You're
yeah, I
ahead of
think
the
that's fun.
curve. You're ahead of the
Yeah.
curve. So even if, and I will say this for our month of challenges and stuff, even if you're like, well, no, I'm not gonna stop spending, we still encourage you to take our no spend challenge every week and add it to your usual sourcing because we want everyone to try, thinking outside the box a little bit. And for those that need to join us in our no spend month, they can also do that. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's fun. I'm gonna have an all spend month this month.
Spend it all.
Wait,
I
just
feel
make
like I
sure
haven't.
to.
I feel like I've held back for the last few
Yes.
weeks. So like,
I understand.
Yeah, so just make
Yeah.
sure you share it on social media so I could just
Yeah.
live vicariously through you again. Wow.
Yeah, maybe that will be the key to Ken making it through.
Yeah,
April.
and then I'm gonna have to follow Kendall, put a whiteboard how much instead of how much did I list, how much money
Did
did I
Kendall
spend
spend?
today?
did I
I feel
spend?
like
Yeah.
the goal is to keep it closest to zero as
Yeah.
possible.
Right. I found $1 in my pocket.
I know.
Lots of
Yeah, that is. If there was one thing that I'm not really confident of is surviving without spending a full month, but I need to. Me and Anna had a deep conversation in Berlin. That I need to do this. It's a good mental and physical challenge. We might have to involve JC hiding my wallet and hiding the car keys
Yeah,
or something
I was
like
gonna
that,
say,
or
it'd be more of a
lock me
physical
down the
challenge for
basement
her,
at
I
some
think.
point or
Yeah.
something like that. Because she really thinks that I'm addicted to sourcing because I would just be uneasy and she would like catch me like just walking and pacing. She's like, do you want to go to Ross or Burlington? I'm just like, yeah, let's go.
I thought you'd never ask.
Yeah, that's all I need, right? Or I was just pulling on an exit, and then she's like, "Where are you going?" It's like, I saw a sign. That's how bad it is. But no, Kendall, thank you so much for hopping on here.
Yes, it's been so fun. We could obviously talk to you forever.
Yeah. And then everybody that's listening, make sure you follow Kendall. We'll link all her social media and her podcast down below. And we just shout out to Seller Ledger for sponsoring this podcast. Make sure you follow them at Seller Ledger on Instagram as well. Get your books right. Taxes coming up. So we will see you in the next episode as we introduce our April challenge. Hopefully you guys will join us on this month, because as you guys have seen, when you buckle down and you put your focus on a few certain things in your business, you could be like Kendall, could be balling the following month. You could be spending. Alrighty. So thank you all. We will see you in the next one. Peace.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah. I was listening just to check the box. Didn't think about what it would cost. All the time I was moving blind, trying to grow, but I wasn't aligned. Now I slow it down, I see it clear. Every move got a purpose here. What I choose, what I let go. That's the part I didn't know. Less but better, I can feel the shift. Every day I'm building this. One step, one list, one win at a time. Now I see it all align. I don't chase, I choose what fits. That's the way I'm moving now. I don't need more, I need what works. Every change, I see it first. Now my store finally feels right. One win at a time. Had things sitting way too long. Didn't know what was going wrong. Now I look and I adjust. Fix it up, rebuild the trust. When it's right, I let it breathe. When it's not, I make it leave. I don't guess I understand. That's how I got control again. No pressure, just pace. Confidence in every play. One step, one list, one win at a time. Now I see it all align. I don't chase, I choose what fits. That's the way I'm moving now. I didn't change overnight. I just showed up and tried. Now it's clearer every day. I found a better way. One step, one list, one win at a time. Stay locked in. Trust the climb. Trust the climb. Now